Hello and welcome, I'm Jack Guhl, and this is the Completionist cat for Dragon's Dogma 2. The process of making this video was honestly a little strange, and I wasn't even sure if I truly desired to make it. That said, it's been 13 months since my last real upload, and although I'd like to make a video on something other than video games, I felt as if this would be a nice project as a return to form for me. Funnily enough, I actually did this whole project almost 2 times, gave up halfway through, just to return to it almost exactly a year later by fully restarting. It was probably around 40 hours of footage I wouldn't use, but I digress. This playthrough is very slightly modded, so if you see some new monster variations and such, do not fret. I do end up removing most of them by the end of the playthrough though, so ultimately things turn out pretty vanilla. But without delay, let's begin with our first taste of freedom, which is granted to us after our perilous bout in the character creator, and then our much less dangerous fight with a Medusa and subsequent prison break. There really isn't much to see here, and we'll be returning later as well. And as we ride the griffin off towards freedom, I'll explain how this video shall go to some extent. Essentially, there'll be near zero focus on the story, because honestly, it's not that great unfortunately. So I'll just go over the moment-to-moment gameplay that regards getting achievements, and that's about that. I dearly apologize if that disappoints you all. After taking a hit from some medieval anti-air, we end up in Vermund and our shackles discarded. Now let's head on with Justin to meet our dear pawn. I didn't get too creative here, and I just ended up using my pawn from my first playthrough, but she'll see some changes as we go. And after doing a few short tasks, we head on towards Melv, relive a memory, which reminds us of our quarter. The fact that we are the Arisen, which also means that it is our fated duty to take down the dragon. But seeing as we can barely take down an ogre at the moment, that's quite a ways off. After passing out, we are awoken by the girl we saved in our dream, and with that, we meet with Gregor, who is required to take any of those who claim to be arisen to the capital, and as such, we follow him towards the next destination, which is 2 new achievements. These being all intense welcome and 1 speed only. The prior is granted from camping, and the latter from taking an ox cart. Moving on from that, we are brought to the city of Vernworth to be granted 1 more achievement, Seat of the Proxy. Here we meet Captain Brant, who exclaims that he knows we are the real Arisen, and the one currently atop the throne is a mere puppet being orchestrated by the current regent. Though that's really of no matter to us, as for now, he urges us to make a name for ourselves so that the people may come to believe our true identity. So let's begin our merry quest. But not before I acquire a fairy stone. With that, I head out into the wonderful world to get some weapons for the Vocation Guild. After relieving some goblins of their possessions, I use my fairy stone to get the achievement, Just a Stone's Throw Away. And then I return to the guild and change my vocation to warrior for a brief moment, giving me versatile. With that, I depart and collect my first Seeker's token above the charnel house. My first of many, unfortunately. Although you only need 80 for the achievement, I do end up collecting the 220 of 240 needed for the all guild rewards. Can't say it was worth it though. After that, I set up my pawn with a pawn quest, which essentially gives other players an incentive to use my pawn, so that I may get rewards as well as badge progress. Badges aren't anything super interesting, but they're the pretty basic stuff like kill 30 Cyclops and the like. Nonetheless, this grants the Wish Upon the Rift achievement. I end up doing a few chores for a bit as I head towards the Elven village, though unless you have a pawn that can speak Elvish, you won't be able to understand them at all. As such, I spend a few days giving gifts to the elves so that I may acquire the Elven Wordsmith Specialization Tome, and give it to my pawn, which means I can now understand Elvish as well. This grants the achievement A Pawn of Many Talents. I then return to Vernworth, where I am tasked by Gregor's wife to save him, as he's been sent out on a mission that would surely spell his death. So now I'm off to go do so and fight a Dullahan. During the fight, I'm unable to defeat it before it flees, but I do save Gregor, and I get the achievement Quit Playing Dead, which is granted upon reviving 2 pawns at once. Then once I return home, I am granted the Affinity and Beyond achievement with Gregor, since the quest end maxed out affinity with him. With that done, I returned to the home we've been house sitting for the past week to find that the owner has returned, but it would seem she has taken quite a liking to where she had gone previously and offers to sell it to us. We oblige for the small price of 20,000 gold, and we get both a new home as well as the achievement, a house in this economy. So we get some rest, and then we return to Melv to deliver a letter, only to find that the small town is being assailed by a lesser dragon. But this one is of no issue to us, as most of the town is here to help, as well as both the fighter and mystic spearhand Meister. With the dragon routed, we speak with Sigurd to get the mystic spearhand vocation, to which we subsequently switch to. Probably the strongest vocation in the game, in my opinion. This gives us the Duo Destinies achievement as well. With our quarry filled, we return to the capital, give good tidings to our quest giver, and then head to the charnel house so that I may revive the brave men that perished fighting the Dualhan. Though I will say that this is also in our best interest, not just theirs, as this grants us both the Thought I'd Lost You and the Savior achievement. Now I head back to Melv to get a start on some other achievements that I won't be getting till much later down the line. But fortunately, I get my first new achievement of the playthrough, as all the others previously mentioned, I did actually have prior. The achievement being Harpy Joyride. It was an interesting experience, and I can't really think of many moments where using a harpy to fly would be necessary, but feel free to prove me wrong. Nonetheless, we head back to the ancient battlefield, near to where we fought the Dualhan, in search of Sphinx, a very important entity for this playthrough. She has various riddles for us to solve, and in order to get all achievements, you must get them all right. They're pretty short overall, so I'll go over how I choose to solve each one as they come up. First of which is the Riddle of Eyes, which just has us go into a cave close by and find the most expensive item there. Pretty straightforward. There's a rotten apple at the very end where you think the treasure awaits you, but on the way out, if your eyes are even remotely open, you'll see the chest that holds what we desire. The next one is the Riddle of Madness, where she'll task you with bringing the NPC you have the highest affinity with, though that's quite a lot more effort than what it's worth, and interestingly enough, your pawn can also be used here. That is, only if you do truly love your pawn. So drop them down on the pedestal, and that's the next one done. For the Riddle of Wisdom, you just have to bring a pawn to the Sphinx that has Sphinx Parent, Sphinx Mom, or Sphinx Dad as their moniker. Next up is the Riddle of Conviction. Here you'll want to give the Sphinx one of your most prized possessions, as in actuality, the Sphinx will just duplicate it for you, despite acting as if it won't return what you give it. Here I give it a port crystal, one of the items that allows you to set up locations across the map that you can later teleport to. The final riddle that the Sphinx will task you with here is the Riddle of Rumination. Your task will be to seek out the location of where your first Seeker's token was found. So fortunately, since I was deliberate in where I collected my first, I just head back to the charnel house, collect the Finder's token, and get my final reward from the Sphinx as she then flies off. We'll be seeing her again, but for now we have other tasks to attend to. Returning to the city, I can complete some other main quest achievements. These are pretty easy. I just have to attend a party in formal raiment to get both the Noble's Night Out and Mermiculin Delights achievements. Now I head to Har Village, which is apparently experiencing some difficulties with Saurians. We head into the cave below, and my Mystic Spearhand vocation maxes out, which gets me the Specialist achievement. With that done, I prepare a little more, get some quests out of the way, do some extra work for the Meisters, as that shall be important later, and then I head towards the checkpoint rest town so that I may cross the border. I do so illegally at first, which grants me the I'm in and then the Across the Border achievement. We have now arrived in Batal, the Beastren Kingdom, and subsequently just about halfway done with our achievements. Now let's go meet the Sphinx once more to finish the last riddles needed. You can actually meet her before you go to Batal, but for the sake of ease, I'll put all the riddles here. The first to be solved is the Riddle of Reunion, which you just get for finding the Sphinx the second time. The next riddle I was tasked with was the Riddle of Contest, where you'll be forced to put on a ring that makes you do pretty much 0 damage, and then fight a random guard. The easiest way to deal with this one is just to throw the guard off the cliff, and you'll be done. Next up was the Riddle of Differentiation, which I could not yet solve just then, but once I made it across the border, I could tackle it once more. Using the ceiling file acquired from a previous quest, we can capture Virgil, one of the two options possible here and deliver him unto the Sphinx. With that done, the Sphinx challenges us with the riddle of recollection. How many riddles have we solved thus far? Well, the answer is actually simpler than you think. By peering at the wings that span in front of you, you can count the glowing dots. That is your answer. The statues are super fiddly, and I'm never too sure what positioning constitutes as actually being an acceptable answer here. So I'm sure to be quite careful when piling them up in front of her, and that's another riddle solved. With that, we get tasked with our final riddle, kind of. Bring the amphora to an NPC all the way in Batal, and that'll easily shatter if dropped or handled carelessly. With this in mind, I return to Batal without the amphora, change my vocation to archer, equip one of the 2 unmaking arrows you'll get in a playthrough, and I go pick up the NPC to ferry him off back to the Sphinx. Once I finish this riddle, I'll need to quickly deal with the Sphinx, so I put him down, speak with the Sphinx, and draw my bow as she starts flying away. I loose my shot and get the key to the final chest, as well as the achievement, full marks. The final chest will contain the Eternal Wakestone. Unfortunately, not actually an Eternal Wakestone, but one that can revive multiple people at once. We'll need it for another achievement down the line. After that, I take a break from side questing and meet with the Oracle, which gets me the Trickster vocation. Seeing through her tricks, we head to the roof, find her real body, and are granted the Trickster Meister's teaching as well. Now to speak with a previous Arisen who's gone mad. Doing so reveals the previous city of Grancis that lay submerged. Heading down the cave, we meet the first ruler Vernworth, Rothias. Ultimately, none of this is of great consequence, but we get granted the dulled Gosblane blade. On its own, it doesn't do much, but we can get it upgraded at the Forbidden Magic Research Lab with Ambrosius using some Worm's Life crystals, that of which are dropped from drakes and the like. With that done, I decide it's finally time to get a few other achievements I'd not yet acquired till now. First of which is, are we there yet? A strange little quest which has you disguise yourself as a pawn so that you may uncover a pawn smuggling operation. Just don't fight back till you reach Vital, and the achievement shall be yours. I then head back to the Sacred Arbor, at the home of the elves, and change my vocation to archer real quick. This is needed for the Cyclops Bridge achievement, which honestly gave me a lot more trouble than it should have, as I got beaten up by Saurians for a good few moments at the bridge prior to the Cyclops. Nonetheless, pretty straightforward. Just taunt the Cyclops, shoot its eye a few times, it'll stumble over, span the gap, and then you'll be given the chance to run across. Now it's time to give the dragon that attacked Melv its retribution at Dragon's Breath Tower. Reaching here will also grant the achievement, Roost of the Dragon. Sigurd also comes along for this fight, and he'll give you his Meister's teaching once you fell the dragon. Only a few more teachings needed now. Nonetheless, after finishing all the quests I can, I decide it's time to move on and head to Volcanic Island. Using our new Godsblane blade, we open up the door and start a trek over. As we do so, the Talos awakens due to Rothias' final passing, and it doesn't seem exactly intent on being friends. Taking our second and final unmaking arrow, we get as close as we can and let the arrow fly at the Talos. It'll keep walking for a little while, but the damage it'll incur will be minimal. If you can kill it quickly enough, the bridge that you can take just prior to the volcanic island will be saved, and you'll get the achievement, Gigantus, I Hardly Knew Ye. You'll also be granted the Back Where It All Began achievement as well. That's not all though, as once I reach the initial encampment here, I'll be rewarded with many a new achievement. First of which is This'll Cure What Ails Ye, by spending some time in the onsen here. Then I give some newt liquor here to another failed Arisen, to which he grants me the Warfare vocation. Ultimately, it's the Jack of all trades vocation, as it allows you to use any skill and gear at the cost of decreased discipline gains for those vacations, as well as no Meister teachings. Nonetheless, he also hooks us up with his Meister teaching, which allows us to change weapons to a different vocation on the fly. Next up, I head out to meet our resident aging dwarf, help him out a bit, and bring him on over to the onsen as well, much to the dismay of his elven wife. Through this act of good, she'll grant us the Magic Archer vocation, as well as her Meister teaching. Now I head on over to the tent and momentarily change my vocation to Warfare, Magic Archer, and finally, Trickster. This grants 3 achievements: Jack of all trades, Master of all trades, Arrows and incantations, and Trickster of the trade. And just for good measure, I use the rest of my Meister's teachings and get the achievement Master of the Meisters. On this playthrough, it wasn't nearly as satisfying, as I didn't get to hear the achievement since I already got it, but I'll have the previous footage play instead, as I was a bit more diligent that time. I was quite a bit more careless with keeping track of stuff this time around. Now I head out once more and end up riding a griffin all the way back to Vital, just to realize that my weapons were glitched out and my last in save was over an hour ago, so I ended up having to get those 3 achievements all over again. Nonetheless, it doesn't matter, and it wasn't all bad, since I got the re-griffining achievement, which is granted upon taking flight on a griffin once more. Now I do a little bit of grinding, kill a few more Cyclops and Vital to get the next achievement on our list, a Badge of Honor, which is gained after getting a Pawn Badge. Not much to it. Then, onto Dravnir's Grotto, where we get Hope You Brought a Lantern, just a location-based achievement. I'm going to rapid fire a few achievements here, as there really isn't anything interesting about them. The first of which is Dragon Forged, just strengthen something in Wormfire. The Philanthropist, receive the affections of 50 people. The Tourist, visit 50 locations. Both of these 2 achievements are cross playthrough, so even if you fully restart, it'll keep your progress on them, I'm pretty sure. To the Victor go the spoils, retrieve what was stolen from you during battle. Reaper's Scorn, using the Eternal Wakestone, revive an NPC. I only had 1 dead NPC, so this wasn't all that exciting. But there's a disease that your pawn can get in-game, where they'll go berserk and kill a bunch of people if unchecked, so this is the item for that problem in case that happens. The Barbecue Meister, cook all different types of meat. There's only like 8 different versions, so it's pretty straightforward. Now before I tackle the endgame, where there's no going back, I must get the last few achievements. 3 of which are from Medusa, which is a little insane, considering there's only 1 that I know that spawns and is hidden away in a random corner of Batal. The first of which is Off with its Head, where you only have to decapitate it. This can be done pretty easily with Warfare, as you can use the sleep arrows from Magic Archer, and then using the warrior's Indomitable Lash as it arrests. Next up is getting a head, where you must practice a bit more precision in your kill, which will net you both the achievement and a perfectly preserved head. Both of these achievements can be acquired at the same time. The head can be used to petrify Medusa to get the An Eye for an Eye achievement. I don't end up using the head much outside of this, other than for one other moment where a sculptor needs to sculpt a griffin for some Noble and Vernworth, and by petrifying the griffin you can get the best possible result. It's also just really interesting to look at, with the griffin just standing there frozen in time. With that all done, I do a bit of gifting outside my house in Batal, and when you reach max affinity with a basic NPC, they'll start following you around a little bit. So if you return home with 2 NPCs following you, a fight will break out among them as they vie for your affection, granting 1 more achievement, Plenty Arisen, to go around. With this, I tackle my final achievement before those related to the end of the game, and of course, it's the Seeker's Token one. The Collector is acquired after finding 80 Seeker's Tokens. Now, on to the end, to face the dragon. We make our way up Moonglint Tower, deal with the False Arisen, and then hop aboard the dragon to face our doom. If you're leveled well enough, this fight shouldn't be too great of an issue. With that done, we can sit upon the throne to reach peace, our final achievement. But wait, the counter says 47 out of 54, you exclaim. That's correct, as there is a secret ending. As the dragon initially flies off to take you to the battleground, climb to its heart, and stab your empty chest with the Godsplane blade to shirk off fate and arrive in the unmoored world. Dragon's Dogma 2 is the achievement granted once you awake in this bleak world, not protected by the outside will, but that is what you wanted, is it not? To end the cycle of Arisen and dragons. Though you'll notice something is missing. 'Tis our pawn. So we get to move on and head to Phasis, who housed our pawn for the month that we weren't present. And with that, we can get on our way to saving the world. We first must head to the Seafloor Shrine, to be told where we must go in order to save everyone. With that out of the way, we head south, and our pawn can awaken the sleeping Talos, which will put down 2 bosses of the unmoored world for us. It's pretty interesting to watch for a little while, but you don't really get much from it other than another achievement, I, Talos. Now we must deal with the other issues that still plague this world. Depending on your behavior throughout your playthrough, this evacuation effort will be either of no matter or actually quite a pain. Nonetheless, considering I did everything in this playthrough, I just have to speak with a few NPCs that govern these towns, and they're more than willing to leave home and head to the Seafloor Shrine. After that, I can deal with the few final bosses that live near. Considering I was at a pretty decent level at this point, they were of no issue. And with that done, you'll be rewarded both the Guardian and the Hero achievement. One for evacuating everyone, the latter for beating all of the bosses and extra challenges of the unmoored world. Now we rest for a day, which we must be careful of doing, since if we rest too much, we'll be consumed by the brine. But this was needed so that everyone could arrive in the Seafloor Shrine. Now since we're in dire need of warp-sized crystals, as the in-game armor and weapons require it, we must head out. During this time, we meet one of the 100 or so Dullahan that inhabit the unmoored world and put it down, netting us the Before Dawn Breaks achievement. We fell a few lesser dragon and then returned to our new home. Here we must speak once again with the Dragon Forged, to which we can then purchase Dragon's Dogma, the sword that shares its name with the game. With that done, it's time to make our sacrifice. We head to the red pillar of light on our map and challenge the dragon for one final time. My pawn transforms here as it fights against the desires of the Watching One, and we board the dragon. As my pawn supports me, we head to the dragon's heart, but I get thrown off. My pawn then returns once more, knowing full well that if we follow through here, we'll both surely die. And with an attack from her to reveal the dragon's heart, I plunge down into the dragon's heart with the Gaudsbane blade, ending both my own and the dragon's life, ultimately sacrificing ourselves to end this cycle of outside influence, granting the world of Dragon's Dogma 2 closure. That's all for what I suppose is actually only part 1 of this journey. What I mean is, this video script was actually finished well before the DLC announcement, and as I already had all the footage and captions together, it didn't make sense to me to wait another 4 months to release this video. So do please look forward to part 2, where I shall be tackling the DLC and the achievements that come with that, I imagine. Nonetheless, a very welcome surprise for me, as I completely gave up hope for any chances of DLC. With that said, here's the quick reflection part of my videos. This one took too long to complete, that is the simple truth. There's some things that I can explain away for that, as when I had released my most recent video, I was actually quite close to graduating high school, to which I then, shortly afterwards, moved to Japan. And with that, of course, there wasn't exactly quite a bit of time to make videos like this. That said though, it's been almost a year now since I've started living here, and I felt it was time I actually finished something. Either way, what's done is done, and there shall be more to come. I've already finished the recording for both Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 and 2 Completionist Cats, so those videos should be in production soon. Other than that, I will also probably do a quick challenge run video from Ender Magnolia as well. So 4 possible videos that I can work on, and there's already a few other games I'm looking at, like No Rest for the Wicked, where I could possibly make a video. As always, if you enjoyed the video and wish to see more, please subscribe or like the video, and of course, if you have suggestions for me, I'd love to hear them. With that, I'm Guhl, and take care of yourself.